This is James Arnold Taylor, voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Welcome to A More Civilized Podcast. This is the podcast you're looking for. You may not go about your business. Stay here, listen, and then move along.
Hey there, dang it, no, let me start over.
Yes, exactly how that's supposed to start. Yes.
Welcome to season 2, everybody.
Hello there, listeners.
That's what I was going to do. Hello there. Dang it.
Yeah.
Oh, complete failure. Well, surprisingly, even though you wouldn't know it by how we introduced ourselves last episode, you would, after a year, I am kind of in a rut, and so to try to switch it up now for year 2 with hello there. Which I agree with that suggestion. That's what. Okay, we ready to actually start, or are we just gonna?
Pretty sure we
we're
just
gonna,
did.
I think we did.
Okay,
Yeah, just
as
going.
usual, your fumbling introduction is done by me, Kyler.
I'm Chris.
And this is Ross.
Crap! Oh my gosh, Ross.
You're still reeling from the landing phase comment from
For
last
real,
episode.
it's so bad. So I listened to that whole episode today, and it was so. That joke was so bad.
Yeah.
So Ross, while I pull myself together, why don't you do the news?
All right. A couple of things here. It's been a little bit of a slow news weeks, actually.
Yeah.
Everyone's still kind of breathing from all the D23 stuff. So, the first thing that we want to talk about is actually a special request by Kyler. It's actually a little bit of counter theory crafting.
Well, because it was like 6 out of every 7 quote unquote news articles that I saw were talking about this thing, and it just made me slip my wrists.
Yeah.
Well, and it's been all over like Reddit and anywhere you get Star Wars stuff. So what we're talking about is Rey Palpatine's clone?
Yeah, or has Rey been cloned by Palpatine at some point?
I enjoy. There's a Saturday morning breakfast cereal that talks about, it's specifically about science articles, but I feel it applies to any kind of article. It's like if the headline of your article is a question to which the answer could be a simple no, then you don't have an article.
Yeah. So with a giant, fat, resounding no, that's my answer to this theory. No, Rey's not going to be a clone. I am 100%. This is Kyler going out willing to bet nachos on being right about this. That Rey is going to be Rey Nobody from Nowheresville, Jakku.
That's not changing.
Yeah, like, especially after 8. Like, they came out pretty hard to be like, no, sorry.
Yeah.
Rey, you are a no one. Okay, great, and I'm happy with that. That's one of the best choices that Episode 8 made.
Well, and more importantly, one thing that people don't really seem to remember is that Rey herself said it.
Yes.
Right? Kylo forces it out of her.
And then, of course, all these people pushing the Palpatine theory are going to be like, no, it's only because she doesn't know that she... No,
Yep.
Stop it.
And then if you
Stop
point
it right
out
now.
that this is a central part of her character, like the whole point of her character that she's building to is she really wants to be somebody, and it turns out she's not, but the point of that is that even if you're not somebody by heritage, you can still be somebody of significance.
Yeah,
like,
you can become somebody
there's a
through your
whole
actions.
huge message which fits with the entire Star Wars theme that's central to, and then people go and say, no, that's just Rian Johnson going off the reservation and making everyone around him angry because he totally had the power to just do whatever he wants and ignore everyone else. That's totally a thing that Disney's giving people right now.
I think that's one of the few pre-planned story points that he didn't reject.
Yeah.
But yeah, my exact notes were, is Rey a Palpatine clone? Stop it. Just stop it.
Yeah.
So
She's not a clone. She's not.
She is connected to Palpatine the same way anybody on the light side is connected to one of the most evil people in the galaxy. She opposes him. That's about all the connection is.
Well, naturally, you have to understand that Palpatine still exists as a sort of poltergeist with the capability of possessing people, and he's totally going to possess her and turn her into Nega Rey.
Yeah.
And that's why that happens, is forced possession is totally going to... No, that would be horrible.
That's only slightly better than her being some kind of clone.
See, it's one of the worst things for me is when I'll make a joke like that, because I've done this before around people where I'm just like, oh, let me make a joke about just like, let me spin something that's like, you can all hear how horrible that is, but then there will be someone listening to me who's just like, yeah, see, that would be so much better, and I'm like,
you missed it. You missed the point.
No, okay.
But it's funny though.
You don't have taste.
Your whole forced possession thing has already happened in the old EU. That was a real story.
I know it.
Yeah, and it was tenuous at best.
Yeah.
Then
It's never
me,
a
even
great
as me
idea.
as like a 14-year-old reading that story, I'm going, I like Star Wars, so I'm going to give this a pass and keep reading. But that's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
And I'm 14.
So,
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
listeners, if you run into that, just play the first part of this episode. Skip the intro. Just get to the news part. and let's move on. And speaking of Rian Johnson films, and in Star Wars, Rian Johnson has told the Evening Standard, and has talked to them about his trilogy
Did a little
coming up.
interview.
He says the truth is that they're, meaning Disney Lucasfilm, are still figuring out their schedule, their game plan, so if it's possible for me to squeeze in another film, or while working on that, I... So, Ryan's looking at... I mean, I'm sure there's probably some thought going into it, but there's probably something else going to be more...
In Hollywood terms, it means his trilogy is still quite a ways out
Yep.
from happening. That's what
Yeah,
that
at least
means.
a couple of years.
Yeah, I would... From the sounds of this, I mean, if he thinks he can work on a movie before having to work on his Star Wars stuff, that's like 3 or 4 years.
I would say 2 years. Like it's
Yeah, it
at least
depends.
2 years. Like it
Well,
could be
if
more.
he's
Definitely,
working
but
on it, like if he started working on it right now, 2 years. But like if he isn't currently working on a project and then has to take time to get attached.
well, that's it's basically he just barely finished
Yeah.
Knives Out. Knives Out is coming out in
Right.
theaters soon, and so that's
So, yeah.
he's officially hit the point where it's like, okay, more or less he's done with this. He's just
Yeah.
waiting for it to air, and so in the meantime, do I start on Star Wars? Do I fit something else in? And he's looking at Disney and going, I bet
think
I
I
can
can
do
do
one
it,
more.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple years to wait for his trilogy, which I think we kind of already knew because it kind of sounded like the Game of Thrones guys were
Yeah.
We're up
going
next.
to be.
Well,
yeah.
and that's it's
Yeah,
he
they
had
were up
Knives Out
to-
he was working on, so they were like, oh, we'll start on this next. But then Disney went, actually, we're putting
We're
the
gonna slow
kibosh on
everything down.
on Star Wars movies for a moment, slowing down, and so
Yeah.
then that kind of threw things into the air for everyone.
So I think we'll see the Benioff and Weiss Star Wars stuff
Yeah.
before we'll see
probable.
Johnson's.
Yep.
So.
And then finally, as far as our newsiest news goes, did I forget to say
You
that?
did. I was
You
hoping
did,
you would go
man.
through the whole
I
thing.
know.
Wow.
And guess what? You forgot to say it last week too, and I didn't say anything.
Did I?
Yes. Makes me so
I wanted
happy.
to see how many episodes we
I
could go.
know.
That's terrible. What happened to me? Oh, man.
Turns out that all you need to do to stop evil is nothing.
Apparently.
I'm sick now. Just sick. Anyway, moving on. Finally, just a little quick note, little fun bit of trivia for your GWiz folder. Lucasfilm Animation has officially gotten his own logo. It's still a super titled, Lucasfilm, the same
Yeah.
Lucasfilm logo you've obviously seen, but it has the
Right. So
animation
Lucasfilm
underneath it.
Animation was always under the Lucasfilm umbrella,
Yep.
even before George sold it. It was still its separate thing, kind of like how Disney has lots of little subsidiaries. So now Disney or Lucasfilm
Well,
Animation.
I mean, Disney has lots of massive subsidiaries
yeah.
and also little ones.
Yeah.
So-
So it got its own thing. It's
Yeah.
kind of cool. It has a stormtrooper helmet.
In which I feel like we've got to be hearing something about out of date here.
I
anytime now.
know.
I know.
When I saw that, I was like, okay, what? Okay, Filoni, you've got a new logo. What's something's coming? Then they don't just throw money at that if they're not gonna. Come on, give it to me.
Oh, but you know what though? Speaking of Fleet, I think he might be working more on the expected.
Really, I'm okay with that. I'm
So-
totally fine with that.
We mentioned a couple weeks ago about how there was an episode of Jon Favreau cooking show that doing Dave Filoni popped in on. I watched it.
I still need to watch that.
And I mean, it's okay. There's only a little bit of Star Wars stuff. Anyways.
That's okay.
They go to the Skywalker
Did Dave
Ranch.
Filoni have his cowboy hat?
He did.
Okay.
Of course,
I've seen a couple pictures of him without his cowboy hat, and it is deeply unsettling.
But so they're there talking, and Favreau's talking about how he's still doing time, so it's a little bit older.
Right.
And they were kind of candid about what they were working on. They mentioned Clone Wars 7. I think they did mention Clone Wars 7 by name, and then they're like, but there's this other project Favreau told Filoni. At that time,
Mandalorian was not announced.
Mandalorian was not announced.
Gotcha.
So I'm wondering if Filoni if they're better friends, and so they work a little closer.
Well, it could be, because, I mean, we know Filoni is directing the first episode.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he was, like, consulting on others, or if he's going to direct more than the first episode.
I think usually when they have a group of directors, they do kind of leapfrog each other, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
all of them will
tends to
have
be.
a couple, probably.
Well, I'm excited for that, because I love Dave.
Yeah.
So
It'll be interesting to see when they actually release like credits for it, if he's like a producer. Or
I'm
something else as
excited
well.
to see what Filoni does with live action, because so far we've had many great seasons of like teenager targeted animated Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what he does when the kid gloves can come off a little bit.
And it gives a little more credence to people's theories that we'll see Star Wars showing in Mandalorian.
That would be cool.
One that I heard a lot of talk about.
Yeah, because he already knows how to direct all the characters and kind of knows them. And,
well, and knows the story behind them.
Well,
but like people were theorizing, if they would have not Sabine, the other Mandalorian.
Bo-Katan?
Bo-Katan. They're like, oh, maybe Bo-Katan will show up. And who do we want to play her? And I was like,
they could have Katie Sackhoff do
you
it.
Get the actor to do it because people were theorizing all these.
She's of the right age to do it. Mm-hmm. She's already, tough as nails and stuff. I mean, she does a lot
She would fit that part real well.
That would be, oh man, Ross, that's a fan theory I can get behind. That would be so cool. They'd have to dye her hair red, but man, yeah, that would be way cool if Katie Sackhoff was Bo-Katan. I hadn't heard that, but that is so cool.
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was dumb because people were theorizing all their actresses that could play that part.
Yeah, but like, why not?
Yeah. Do the voice, right? Get the actor that did the voice.
Well, and she even looks enough like her that you could just have somebody say on screen, this is Bo-Katan, and like it wouldn't be hard to make, kind of like they did with Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
The Clone Wars Saw Gerrera to him. It's like, okay, little different, but all right. So somebody said this is Saw Gerrera. It's Saw Gerrera. Okay.
Well, and I mean, for any new project, you're going to have to reintroduce them anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
The people who only picked up this project. So.
Yeah. Now I really want to see Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan.
Sorry.
With the Darksaber. I know what I'm dreaming of tonight.
Kyler is now completely distracted for the rest of the episode. Congratulations, Chris. You're going
this will be nice. We still have the problem of him knowing most of these characters better than I do.
True.
But we'll see.
That's true. So, as Chris alluded, speaking of segues, we, if you remember, a year ago, we did the villains bracket. We fun and we had a good time, and we want to redo it better.
Yeah.
Like
a few months after that, we did the heroes bracket, and we did that more intricately because having a simple death match for a bunch of heroes seemed wrong.
Counterintuitive, at least.
So we came up with some criteria that would get more to the spirit of herodom, and then looked back at our villains bracket and went, maybe we should have done that for our villains bracket. So.
Yep. And then I said, well, why don't we, we'll redo it at some point. So
this is the Villains Bracket Special Edition.
Yeah, this is the Villains Remastered, the Remastered Edition.
Do I need to edit in a THX logo? Is that
the sound. You should do the sound.
Do it.
Oh, that sound is probably definitely copyrighted. Okay, never mind. We should just make the sound. Oh, I went the wrong way.
See, actually, my sister-in-law figured this out. It actually is just a scale, but one instrument starts at the bottom, one starts at the top, and they cross.
So
actually,
that works perfect.
Yeah. Look at me. Okay. Which side of the bracket do we want to start on, guys?
I say we just start at the top left.
Okay.
Start at the very beginning. With a little-known Sith Lord.
Yeah. So we also redid the bracket, because last time it was just sort of, they were entered into the bracket in the order that I thought of them.
Yeah.
Which meant that last corner of the bracket was pretty interesting, because it was kind of like, oh, right, the Rancor.
Look at this! Yes, look at this barrel down here. Look at this barrel has a bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
And I am scraping it
for sure. This time, though,
we have conferences.
We do. We have conferences.
Yes.
That's the word that I was trying to think of earlier,
I just
Ross.
barely thought of it because I accessed my sports ball knowledge.
For the one and only time this year, so we can't ask you any sports-related information again for another year.
I'm spent.
So we have conferences. We have the Force/Lightsaber Conference.
Which is what we'll be starting with.
We'll be starting with. And then we have the Officer Conference, which is what we will finish up with today.
Yeah.
Then in 2 weeks' time, we have the Bounty Hunter Conference. And then the
Bounty Hunter / General Scoundrels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Bounty Hunter and Scum and Villainy.
Yes.
And then the fourth conference is the Outer Rim Conference, where everyone who couldn't fit into one of the other conferences for either space or theming problems got put. That's the island of misfit toys.
So, we didn't actually talk about this, but are we working this the same way as we did last time, where I just kind of announce and adjudicate while you two fight it out?
I believe
Correct.
so, yeah.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
Although one of these days we will have to do a bracket where I adjudicate while you two are. Oh, wait, no, that's what we did with the heroes. So you and I need to argue, Ross.
Yeah.
And I adjudicate.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Do we want to do that today? I can do it.
No, you
No,
have
no,
to
no.
be
You're
on.
the villains are
Come on.
yours.
Okay.
Like, let's.
As
That's
much as
true.
I had to be one of the ones arguing in the heroes bracket, you have to be. Actually, both of you really are right there. You both.
That's fair. Okay, so Ross, who's up first?
Yes. Oh, right.
And our criteria here.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we are revamping our criteria.
Yeah, we have
So
scientific criteria.
We are
this
looking
time.
at it similar to the way we did with our heroes. So we're going, okay, what makes a good villain? What are some good categories? So we have 3 categories. Our first one is our general lethality / destructiveness. So this is not just how well can they and effectively can they kill someone, but how well and effectively can they cause death, strife, pain, mayhem, dismay, just how well can they wreck people's lives in all the different ways that can be done, whether that is killing someone or ending
Emotional
their life or
manipulation,
killing someone that matters to them,
puppy kicking,
drop kicking, eating, whatever it may be, taking their
dogs.
parents and leaving them weeping in an alley, whatever. So causing pain and mayhem and destruction. Number 2 is their imposing presence / cool factor. So the villain panache.
Yeah,
Basically,
exactly.
it's like how
When
dire
you think
a figure
of a
do
cool
they strike?
villain,
Yeah.
you go, "Oh, this guy." It's like, I mean, Darth Vader, a great example, right? You look at Darth Vader and you go, "I know you're the bad guy, but dang it all if you don't look cool doing it."
That's true.
So,
And then finally, they're just general disregard for life and others in general.
we would say human life, but we're not xenophobes. here
Yes,
on this
yes.
podcast.
Unlike some of these villains. But so it's not just their ability to cause strife, but also how
little they care.
how
for
little
those
do they
around them.
care about that? How willing are they to just
Toss life
not be
away.
concerned
Yeah.
with life, with other people's feelings, emotions, well-being, etc. So those are our criteria, and I'm sure we can toss out some tiebreakers. Ross can toss some tiebreakers at us as we go if we need them.
Ooh, I'll have to start thinking those up. That's right. Okay.
Yes. Well, I mean, you could do it like I did, where I just was hitting the random button on Wikipedia and going like, "All right, who's best at macrame? Which of these sings the best Korean pop?"
Oh, Cad Bane, I think.
You know what? Yeah,
I could see him
think-
rocking
yeah.
it. Yeah, rocking it.
I see
karaoke
him
night.
more of a rap. I see him more on the rap side of things. Rap like techno
Okay,
rap
yeah,
sort
that's
of.
fair.
Yeah.
So
Some E EDM.
Cad Bane will sing the K-pop, and Han Solo will dance to it in.
Yeah, well, naturally.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Wow.
As far as our best K-pop singer on this, though, I mean, I'm leaning towards Zam Wessel.
Okay.
I mean, she can change her
Ross,
voice to whatever
start
she
us,
needs.
Start us.
sure, yeah. So, by the way,
Or
we
Mother
are starting
Talzin.
off
Ooh.
strong.
Yeah.
This first matchup, oh my gosh. So, first up, we have the Dark Lord of the Sith, the one and only Darth Vader.
Last year's champion.
You may know of him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you might have heard.
We have
Or in more likelihood, we know you know of him because forgotten Amazonian tribes know of him. Like it's everybody knows who Darth
Everybody
Vader
knows
is.
Darth Vader.
we have him up against Darth Bane
The founder of the Sith
of
Order.
the modern.
Darth
Too.
Bane.
He was born in the darkness.
Yes, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, that was good. This is the
I could do a surprisingly good Bane impression.
Yeah, I am surprised by how good it is. That is accurate statement. That is accurate statement.
as an aside that may or may not make it into the final episode. Do that voice, but do Deckard Cain lines.
But without the cover?
No, with it.
Oh. Stay a while and listen.
And you now have Deckard
That's
Bane.
yeah, Deckard Bane.
Deckard Bane!
I love it. Ooh,
Anyway.
that's great.
Oh, that was great, Ross.
That was a
was a good
a
setup.
next level pun. Yeah, that
No
was
kidding,
delightful.
I didn't
man.
even see it coming.
And
That
you're
was
not
fantastic.
even a father. Like that is amazing.
That is true.
I'll admit I'm not the originator of that one. That was a friend I used to work with.
Well,
but
still.
I will
Dude,
take.
well
cut
stolen.
that,
well
cut that
stolen.
part out and take credit for it, Ross.
Okay.
All right,
Okay,
Darth
Vader
Vader
and
versus
Bane.
so Bane, of course, being the institutor of the rule of two, who preserved the Sith through the Great Destruction caused.
I
by the
was
Jedi.
just about to say, like, Darth Bane wipes out tons of Jedi in the Sith Wars, and then I
Darth
was like,
Vader
well,
wipes
but
out
Darth
tons of
Vader
Jedi.
wipes out the Jedi
Agent
Order,
Order
so that's equal.
66. So
And if I remember correctly, our justification for Darth Bane being, I think, winning his bracket last time was that he also knew how to hide well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
Well,
But
okay,
stealth
so
is
we're
not
looking
one
at
of the
our
categories.
So, lethality/destructiveness. Yes, they both killed a lot of Jedi. I don't know of Bane slaughtering younglings who trusted him.
Yeah, well,
That's-
I think that's more in the disregard for
I'd
life.
say that's in both. That's not necessarily that is definitely, yeah, you're right. Disregard for life is if you are willing to slaughter children who trust you. Whew.
Yeah.
I mean, not just slaughtering
Master
children.
Skywalker,
This is
what are we
slaughtering-
going
yeah.
to do? Ignite the lightsaber.
I mean, any of us
Well-
could slaughter children that didn't trust us, but slaughtering children that don't trust you, that is, man,
yeah,
that is
that's,
horrible.
Yeah.
apparently Anakin just really wanted the answer to how many 7-year-olds can you take in a fight?
For reals. I don't think this is as hard as you maybe thought it was, Ross. I think
Yeah,
it's
see, and it's like I don't know much of what Bane looked like.
Bane
I don't think
looks
we have
really
a lot
cool.
of.
We see.
Do we have a lot of current canon stuff? We do have
Yes,
him in
the Clone Wars,
yeah.
and he's got like a cool, almost like a samurai look to him, which looks really cool. But Darth Vader.
But Vader
man.
also has a bit of a samurai look to him. Like
Yeah.
they were specifically.
I'm giving my vote to Darth
Yeah,
Vader.
no, I don't even think this is an argument. That's
Bane
Vader.
was also voiced by Mark Hamill, which is his
Oh yeah.
voice credit for Star Wars.
Yep.
Oh, that's fun. Oh.
Yeah.
Yep, no,
And it's
Vader.
a good voice.
Vader goes on to the
All
next
right.
round.
Okay.
Well, okay, never mind then. Next we have the Grand Inquisitor, who comes from Rebels,
Yes.
who was chasing down the Ghost crew in,
Yep.
I think, just the first season? If
Yes.
that was correct? Yeah.
Correct.
The big guy with the lines in his face,
He's a Powan.
Powan.
Yeah, Utapau.
Or isn't Uti? Which one's, I don't know which
Oh
one's
no,
the
you're
short
right.
ones.
It's the Uti.
Uti are the tall ones, Powan's are the little
Yep.
ones.
That's right.
Anyway,
Oh, okay. Tall ones come first. Tall people are more important. So Utapau.
yes.
That's right. That's why Chris is more important than I am, and I'm more important than Ross.
Just barely, though.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
you thought,
Barely. He is just barely.
I was just gonna say it's why we're all so important because I mean we're all pretty tall guys.
Sure. So the Grand Inquisitor, originally before Order 66, was a temple guard.
Correct.
Also very, very intelligent.
Yes.
Wasn't it something about he wanted to get into the Jedi archives
Correct.
but was never allowed to? That's why he had animosity towards the Jedi. Anyway, we have the Grand Inquisitor versus Mother Talzin, who we see more of in Clone Wars.
Correct. I think that's the only place we see her.
I thought we saw her a little. No, I guess we didn't see her in Rebels at all.
Nope.
Anyway, you see her a couple times in.
Yep.
So she is the headmistress of the Witches of Dathomir.
Yeah, she's got like a white and black face.
Yeah.
It's not like it kind of looks like a skull almost with the
Very-
way it's painted.
She's
Very
based
pointy.
off of an unused piece of Phantom Menace concept art.
A very
No wonder
pointy
she looks
costume.
So cool.
Yep.
Very tall hat. Very like wide shoulder pad.
Yep. Lots of force powers.
Yeah, Force Witch is what they would
Yep.
call her. Lots of double trouble,
Uh-huh.
or however that goes.
Dooku specifically calls her witch several times.
Well, and I think
Disparagingly.
the ladies of Dathomir were always called witches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that sounds right.
Yep, that is true.
The Night Sisters.
Okay, so
Okay, yeah. So
lethality.
lethality. I'm not very familiar with.
They are both pretty equal in terms of like you're in front of me and I want you dead and now you're dead.
Yeah.
You know, ability to get that done.
Ability to
Mo-
cause pain or
but
strife or
Pays and
manipulate.
that is, I think, Mother Talzin.
Yeah.
I think the Grand Inquisitor looks cooler though.
Really? Because I think Mother Talzin looks cooler.
Oh, I don't know. I like kind of the simple elegance of.
I like it. I don't think it's as imposing as her. Like I like how
think
he
the Grand
looks.
Inquisitor-
I like the
more
Grand
imposing.
Inquisitor's look better,
Fair enough.
personally.
I think it's the height and the lankiness of Inquisitor for me in particular.
See, I don't find height and lankiness imposing. Having experienced those most of my life.
Yeah, I was gonna say being both of those.
Yeah.
You know what,
I'm less
Chris?
lanky than I
Yeah.
once was.
That's
Wow. Just had a night. Chris needs to go as the Grand Inquisitor for Halloween.
That could be fun. Could be fun. I don't
could
have the
actually
belly
kind
for it
of see
anymore.
because his
I
nose
need
is
to narrow it
kind of
down.
the same. I could see it.
I don't think I can get enough of my gut away by the end of October. Maybe
That-
next year's.
That never mattered to cosplay guys. You
It
can-
matters to me.
It's fine.
It does, yeah. That's why I don't cosplay. It matters to me. So then, general disregard for life.
I think Talzin wins on that too.
Yeah.
The Grand Inquisitor is just a little too insular. Like, yes, he's hunting down Force
Yeah.
users for the Empire, but he's mostly focused on his own knowledge, on what he
Yeah.
wants.
And Mother Talzin is pretty blatant, does not care
Yeah.
about life.
Yeah, so I think of the two,
Dang it.
Talzin is our
I
grander
keep
villain.
wanting to. I'm gonna have to we're gonna do this bracket again next year. I want Grand Inquisitor to go further than the first round because I think he got knocked out last time too.
Well, but the thing is, he's a season 1 villain. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Should have been like a 2 or 3 season.
But then
villain,
again, our
honestly.
next character is also a episode 1 villain.
Yeah.
So
true. So next up, we have Darth Maul of Phantom Menace fame
best known for his double-bladed lightsaber and wicked dance moves.
and striking resemblance to Satan.
Yeah, a little bit of that too.
Ross would know. He's seen it.
That's right. We have him up against the fifth brother,
Yep.
who is one of the Darth
Inquisitors.
Vader's Grand Inquisitors. Not Grand Inquisitors.
One of
We
the-
just had the Grand
yeah.
The
Inquisitors.
Grand Inquisitor's underlings.
Correct. Circle, spinny lightsaber thing, kind of like Xena's little frisbee thing.
No,
but
no, no,
different.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
And they tend to do the Inquisitors away and like fly off and helicopter away with their lightsabers, which honestly I never liked.
Yeah,
Neither.
no, I agree. It's a little
Anyway.
silly. Definitely
Yeah.
cuts
Yeah.
down on the imposingness.
Yes, it does.
And when
Yeah.
you're across the match from Darth Maul,
Yeah.
you weren't going to win imposingness anyway.
So can I just like mark this down? It's Darth Maul.
yeah,
right?
it's Darth
Like,
Maul.
yeah.
He's definitely more lethal. He's
You
definitely
get
more
that
imposing.
cool lightsaber fight in episode 1. That's just that's a cool factor of like 100 right there.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because they have, I mean, they're similar styled sabers, but Darth Maul still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darth Maul's way.
Darth Maul got the original saber, and then Fifth Brother got the focus group to like, how else can we make? What else can we do with the lightsaber? We're running out of ideas. Lightsaber.
By the way, another aside, was this the same Inquisitor that was in the Ahsoka novel?
Yes. Oh.
Because
I'm pretty sure the only thing in the Ahsoka novel is pages with words on them, Russ.
Oh, thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Dad.
Rounding us once again. Because now I can't remember which one it was. It's hard when they're just numbers.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
I'll look that up later. Next, this is another good. I really want to see a lot of these fights now.
I know, right?
Looking at these. Next, we have Count Dooku of Episode 2 fame and a little bit of 3.
And
Lord of the
Clone
Rings.
Wars, of course.
And Clone
And
Wars.
Lord of the Rings. And general villainy everywhere.
And also his very own book.
Yep.
Also well known for fathering Willy Wonka.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
It was a different time in Dooku's life. He was very.
Yeah.
And he went from there and started beating up Gandalf.
Yep.
Makes sense to me.
Anyway, we have Count Dooku versus Pong Krell. That is the Jedi Master turned rogue from Clone Wars.
Basilisk.
Yeah.
Jedi commander.
Dexter Jetster's race. 4 arms, really stocky.
Yep.
Wielded 2 double
Oh, hey, we forgot for our news that rumor of a Dexter Jetster.
That is not a rumor.
You're
Oh,
right.
it's
fact.
fact.
It's
It's
not a
happening.
thing.
We are going to campaign
Never-
to make this happen.
Ever will
Dexter
that happen.
Jetster will have a series.
Remember the gif I posted of the guy jumping out the window? I will do that right here.
Oh, you'd probably survive that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it would just hurt.
don't dive.
Yeah. Aim for your planter boxes, Ross, not the concrete patio. You'll be fine.
The point is to die.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
It's got dark. Let's
if
just
that
keep
if that
going.
happens, we know
or
some guys we can
Pong
hook
Krell?
up with
That's
Carrie,
true.
right? Well, she'll be all right.
Yeah. Wow.
I made it worse. Yes.
Ross thought it got dark. Wow.
Get out of my
I mean, we
house.
would miss you. We would miss you, Ross.
I would be sad. Fortunately, Carrie is the girl version of you, so I wouldn't really be out too much of a friend. The glare he just gave me.
I'm speechless.
We're best not let Carrie listen to this episode.
Oh boy.
All right, so Dooku and
Dooku
Pong
and
Krell.
Krell.
Destructiveness. We do have the whole waged war across the entire galaxy thing in Dooku's favor for destructiveness.
Sure.
But he did that at his master's bidding.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know how
part of
much
his
of
master's plan.
Yeah, but he did it capably, pretty capably, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So, like, he's obviously capable of great death and destruction. He's pretty handy with that lightsaber.
Yeah, I would. Well, but so is man.
Yeah.
I would say if we're talking about individual, like what can you physically Count Dooku? Like,
What are you doing on the
yeah,
battlefield?
here's a planet. You Count Dooku, go to the planet, and you get to go with your lightsaber and cause destruction. And Pong Krell, same
Yeah.
thing. Pong Krell is going to win that.
Star Wars Battlefront, you get a moment to play as one of these guys. Which one
Pong Krell,
does
all
yeah,
the way.
Pong Krell.
For sure.
I could see that.
But yeah, galaxy-wide strife. That's kind of in Dooku's favor. I'd say that's kind of even.
I'm not sure I agree with Pong Krell doing more damage. Because Dooku has the Force Lightning thing in his side. a wider array of force.
Yeah, but I mean, how many
Paul
times do we
has
actually see Dooku
dual-bladed
be effective with
double
Force lightning?
lightsabers? Like, he has 2 double-bladed lightsabers, and in those episodes, the Zambara episodes, where he's chucking those, throwing them, like, okay, the Darth Maul on Polis Massa map on the old Battlefront 2 times 2.
I mean, I feel pretty. I'm just trying to think of
And
like
we see some
the most.
of that, Ross.
I mean, I can't think of any instances. I'm sure he used lightning in Clone Wars, but I'm like the most we see from the movies of Dooku doing damage with Force lightning is he tossed Anakin aside briefly,
Yeah.
and then got his lightning blocked by Obi-Wan, and then got his lightning tossed back at him by Yoda, which was kicking. So I'm kind of I'm feeling Punkrell for the destructiveness too. I agree.
The cool factor, though,
Yeah.
the imposing presence,
like it's Christopher Lee.
and I think he is more imposing. But again, dual lightsabers.
Dual
is pretty
lightsabers is
freaking
intense,
cool.
but it's Christopher Lee. Like I don't think you
Yeah.
impose better than Christopher Lee. Like
I think
nobody
part of
does.
it is like he's the classy bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
which
know.
I do like.
Yeah.
But then disregard for life, I've got to give it to Punkrell.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Dooku is, he's waging war and stuff, but he's waging war with battle droids, which is part of why he considers them so expendable, and does try to save Obi-Wan and corrupt him first before executing him, where Ponkrell has living clones who he specifically knowingly is like, what is the worst way to get the most people killed here? Oh, right up the front. Okay, that's what we're doing, guys. March in formation, tight formation, straight up to the front gate, and don't move while they shoot at you. Like, this whole dude's philosophy is, what is the most way I can the best way I can maximize loss of life?
That's a pretty compelling argument, I gotta say.
Well, and just as a counterpoint, Dooku does kick his apprentice to the curb.
Yeah.
Not on a whim. That's his master going, you get rid of Asajj Ventress or I'm going to kill you,
Well,
because
right.
there can only be
Yeah,
one.
that's
There was
self.
no moral quandary.
There
for
wasn't.
him.
No, but
No.
it's self-interest. It's
and
not
he
necessarily
didn't,
disregard
he
for
didn't
life.
want to do it either. Remember, he tried to talk Palpatine out of it. He's like, no, this isn't a master and apprentice thing. She's just an assassin. Like, don't
Yeah,
get rid
as
of
much
her.
as classy as I think it's almost that the Dooku's a little too classy. He's a little too
where
too much of
Ponkrell
the.
is like, please let me join the evil
Especially
team.
where
Here's my
these are
resume."
both former
You know?
Jedi, and I feel like Ponkrell as a Jedi was already almost as bad as Dooku for his disregard for life, and was only getting worse later.
Which I think ties it up, because Dooku wins the cool factor, Ponkrell wins disregard for life, and they were kind of evenish on the destruction.
I do find myself
Ross, make
leaning
the call.
towards Ponkrell though too. So
I mean, I've heard more in favor of.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
well,
Ponkrell it is.
speaking of
Yeah.
Dooku's,
speaking of apprentices that are just kicked to the side, we now have Asajj Ventress of more pale skin fame, because she was a Night Sister.
and they don't see the sun much.
That's right. There isn't much of a sun on that planet. It's all hazy. Who was picked up by Dooku. I guess there had to have been some training.
Yeah.
Was an assassin, double-bladed lightsabers.
She's so cool.
Gets into it with Ahsoka a
I do
lot,
like her
especially in the first
lightsabers.
season. And we have her up against the Seventh Sister.
I paired them up because they're both ladies.
Yeah, you paired them up last time too.
Oh, I did? Oh,
Yep.
shoot.
That's okay. They work well together.
Yeah.
And I think
against
just
each other.
like last time, it's Asajj Ventress.
Yeah,
She's got way more disregard for life. She's definitely a cool factor.
she's pretty cool. She's pretty
Considerably
intense.
more lethal.
She's got more anger issues.
every
She
level.
definitely has some pretty severe disregard for life.
Yeah. It's Asajj Ventress. She's so
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, I kind of feel like if you're comparing these two in a lot of ways, Seventh Sister is just discount Asajj Ventress. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, that is very true.
like she's okay, but
You know what? We're getting through this bracket a lot quicker than we have
that's
in the
good because
past.
we're trying to do shorter episodes.
Yep.
True. Next, we have Savage Opress.
Yeah, discount Darth Maul.
Every time I see his name, I just,
It's good, isn't it?
Discount Darth Maul, also Darth Maul's brother.
Yep.
With a very similar story, also picked up... Actually, no, wait a minute. Did Dooku pick him up, or... He did, didn't he? Right?
I don't
Dooku,
remember.
no. Darth Maul. Oh, no.
Maul goes back to find him.
So after he has to get rid of Asajj Ventress, Dooku goes and says, "Okay, how to get rid of the last one? I need another apprentice. Give me a man this time." And he gets Savage Opress, gets free from Dooku's controls back.
Yeah.
It's like, "Hey, you're one of me. You're my brother. Come on."
I'm impressed by your longer than mine horns.
Yep.
So
Your savage this.
Yeah.
Your savageness.
Your savageness.
Your French savageness.
Savage.
And we have him up against
Gothy Edgelord from Hot Topic.
A.K.A.
Kylo Ren.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Or Kylo Ben, depending on which side of the argument you're on.
That's...
The redemption.
All right.
Yeah,
Destructiveness, I've got to give that one to Kylo.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
He's mildly inconvenienced and he starts tearing apart his own starship.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and also just this is a guy who is like, oh, somebody's shooting at me, let me freeze that in midair. Like, he's powerful, he's not afraid to bring that to bear.
For sure.
And he will bring that to bear at the drop of a hat because he's throwing a tantrum. So definitely quite destructive.
Yeah, Savage Opress, like, he is a brutal murderer, for sure. But Kylo is like, he wakes up every morning going, please give me the excuse to kill someone today. Like, he's out for blood.
Yeah.
Which kind of ties into the whole disregard for life. I think Kylo is...
Greater disregard for life, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider that, like, Savage's defining relationship is the fact that he's Darth Maul's brother, and they are pretty freaking loyal to each other.
Yeah.
And Kylo Ren's defined, like, what defined him when we first met him was he killed his father. Like, he's the anti-Luke.
Yeah.
And obviously he was quite conflicted about doing it,
But he still
but he still did it. Yes.
Yep.
Despite all these people's lame
And-
theories about, like, no, Han totally did it to spare it for
The cool factor is discount Darth Maul versus Kylo
versus
Ren.
discount
Kylo
Darth
Ren-
Vader.
Well, no, but Kylo Ren, I think
Kylo has a
looks
nice
cooler.
get up. Like, it is distinct enough from Darth Vader. Like, I like the design in that you can see he is trying to imitate Vader. Like, that is
But
the
it's
whole
still
point of
unique.
his outfit, but it is distinct enough to be separate, whereas Savage is just like, that's just Maul again. Like,
Maul
if
in
you
a
just showed that
breastplate.
picture to someone who wasn't that familiar with Star Wars, they'd be like, that's Darth Maul. I don't know why he looks a little weird, but
Yeah.
it is. So I feel like Kylo's got this on all
Yeah,
three
it's
counts.
Kylo.
All right, next we have the Supreme Leader, Snoke.
Oh, this is the two Supreme Leaders.
Yes,
So we have discount Palpatine versus
Palpatine.
Palpatine. Yep.
Yep, so it's Supreme Leader Snoke versus Sheev Palpatine.
Yeah. As much as I love Snoke, that is what he like. His defining characteristic is I think I'm Palpatine. Oh, whoops, no, I'm not. Like,
Yeah.
he loses it every way.
For me, it's Palpatine's cool evil black robes versus Elton John.
Snoke's
wrinkly
fabulous.
Elton
No,
John.
I see it now. I got to give the style to Snoke.
No.
Palpatine's
Absolutely
walking
not.
around in dark, like, black robes when it's like, you are the figurehead, not just a figurehead, but it's like, you're supposed to be ruling this entire empire, and you're not acting like it. Snoke's at least acting like, yeah, I'm grand.
But that's not one of our criteria.
That's true.
Style, I mean, is one thing, whereas it was
Imposing.
the evil
Says,
panache
yes, his style is
the
not
other.
particularly imposing. I will
Yeah.
grant that. I like it, but no, yeah, he's not as imposing. He's not like, as far as he's trying to be Palpatine, but it's specifically in the manipulation and causing death and destruction and luring to the dark side and all of that. But he's not as good at it on every single count. And the general disregard for life might be equal. He's just not as good at it. So,
Yeah, it's Palpatine.
yep, easily Palpatine.
Yeah, you can't get more disregard for teams. At best, you could match. So, anyway, moves on. Next, we have Cleef. I don't know who that is. I still don't know. I think you guys even talked about
Ross,
him
I
before.
told you about this morning.
I know.
Yeah.
I've forgotten.
The awkwardly named Cleef, whose
Very
name is one
awkwardly.
letter away from some inappropriate
Something
slang.
else.
Yes.
Yep. So Cleef is a Gungan.
That's
He's
right.
like a shaman kind of a thing. He does have the Force, kind of, maybe, like that. But he's in contact with who he's there to try to, like, manipulate the Gungan bosses into revolting. And
The Gungan bosses are pretty revolting.
they are. Yeah, to going to war
Speciesism.
against the Naboo and, flipping that planet to the Separatists.
Righto. Versus...
It's like season 2 or more.
So we have Cleef versus General Grievous.
General Grievous is going to eat lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's absolutely
So
like...
does Cleef have any sort of even combat prowess? Like, I think it is just more...
Yeah. He's basically just that he's a turncoat is what
Yeah.
makes him a villain, and
Yeah.
that's about it. He's a Gungan, so no offense to the Gungans, he's pretty much definitionally not that imposing.
Yeah, he's the most imposing Gungan. He's got like cool like bones in his nose and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
he's got a cool
No, I have seen
looking. He's
pictures
got a
of him.
cool
Yeah,
looking.
like, he's
figure.
not bad. He's doing everything he can
Yeah,
with what he started
like,
with, but
on like compared to any other Gungan, yeah, he looks more imposing. Yeah, he's got way more disregard for life. Yeah, he's, probably capable of murdering you because he'll murder you in your sleep.
But I mean, disregard as far as villains on this sheet go. I don't know if there are there might be people who can match Grievous's disregard for life.
Yeah,
but I mean, Grievous can go toe to toe with Palpatine as far as just sheer apathy towards other people's lives.
He cares
and
so
welfare.
little about life, he's willing to disfigure his own body.
Yeah,
in pursuit of what he wants.
Yeah. Grievous is pretty.
He's like a living embodiment of disregard for life.
Yes. And then as far as ability to be destructive, Grievous definitely has it. Grievous has killed multiple Jedi. He's waging war just all across the galaxy, and unlike Dooku, it's very Dooku is doing this all for a reason. Part of it is that he's being instructed to by his master. Part of it is that he's got a lot of reasons for what he's doing. Grievous, you can see just doing this because
he's kind of the Joker. Is he just wants to watch the galaxy burn. That's really it.
Yeah.
So it's Grievous. There's no question, by a mile on all of those.
So that is our Force/lightsaber user.
And as cool as Cleef looks, you do not. It's hard to get cooler than Grievous's 2 arms turning into 4, and they've each got a lightsaber, and it's
he's pretty intense.
Shoot, it's about to get real.
So I mean, I do gotta, when Grievous first showed up, it was kind of there were some moments of what is this, Proto Vader? This is weird, but all the same, he does cut a good figure.
Yeah. Well, and in lore, that actually is kind of what it was.
Yeah.
But
so there it is, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we knocked that one out of the
park.
park.
So that's that conference.
So Vader, Talzin, Maul, Krell, Asajj, Kylo, Palpatine, Grievous. They all advance.
That'll be fun.
All right. Our officer conference.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so.
Which won't have nearly as much paperwork as it sounds like it
would. We have.
Although, the ability to swamp people with ability to cause bureaucracy could definitely be a tiebreaker here.
I love it, Ross. That's the tiebreaker, okay?
Ability to cause bureaucracy. Got it.
Because we all know that bureaucracy is an evil, so.
Yeah.
Now my goal is to cause as many tiebreakers as we can, so we can discuss bureaucracy.
So to start off, we have Alexander Callus versus Pharaoh Argaius.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Callus from Rebels fame.
Correct.
The eventual turncoat.
Yay. Turncoat.
Traitor.
Ross's good heart is shaking his head over there.
Who starts off as an Imperial ISB agent.
Mm-hmm. That's Imperial Security Bureau. Yes. So this is your internal affairs people. This is your counterintelligence stuff.
Yeah. Who claims to have killed most of the Lasat.
Yeah, participated in the assault that destroyed most of the Lasat.
Excellent combat specialist.
Yeah, excellent enough because according to him, he got his bow rifle from the Lasat honor guard that he killed. So he's taking out elite.
Dun, dun, dun.
Twist. Anyway, we have him up against Pharaoh Argaius, who was a Senate commando. I thought he was a guard.
He was our guy.
Senate commando.
Our guy for us.
That's probably how they got the name.
Blue uniforms, the one with the brushes on their heads.
Yep.
Yes.
They look like blue Romans.
Another turncoat.
Yep.
Great hair when he turns that.
Yeah.
Man.
Elvis would be jealous.
Yeah.
So he was a good guy who then defected to the Separatists to try and he freed Newt Gunray.
Get a buttload of money for it.
Got paid to free Newt Gunray from the Republic's clutches.
Kind of an interesting mirror. A good guy who turns bad and a bad guy who turns good.
Which I like here because it's Callus's turning good would undermine a lot of his villainy. That's going to be a hindrance for Vader in future matchups. It's we didn't really get into with Bane, but it's if Vader did, turn against the bad guys at the end, even if that's not enough for a real.
I think for the purposes of this, though, they're at the height of their villainy.
Sure, but so you can't ignore the fact that he went good at the end. That's not ignorable, even if it is that's not. It's a deathbed repentance, basically. It's you did one good thing after decades of horrificness.
There is a kernel of righteousness at the center.
Like nougat core?
Yes.
So he decided he cared more about his child than his master. That's still kind of selfish in and of itself. Vader's.
So, okay.
Anyway.
So, lethality. How much damage and destruction Callus has got to do this? He's got a wider sphere of influence from which
he's also got a wider he's got more history in Pharaoh Argaius doesn't get a lot.
Well, that's what I'm saying is he's basically a yes sir commando
Yeah.
And then it's only at the last minute that he goes, okay, yeah, that was a big enough wad of cash. Here we go. I'm going to help one guy escape. I'm going to kill a couple of clones on the way, and here we go.
Yeah, and those are just clones. I mean, they're not real people.
You know, where Callus is, you know, he's an ISB agent in Lothal. The whole planet is being troubled by him in some degree.
So ability to cause destruction, I would give to Callus. Yes.
And then lethality, I think just individual lethality is probably even maybe tipping to Callus. I mean, he is a Senate commando, so he's not, you know, he's no scrub. But at the same time, Callus defeated Faro's a Senate commando versus somebody who has defeated Lasat on it.
Yeah, the Callus has more field experience.
Yeah. So
sure.
Lethality, destructiveness, I would say is
and then
definitely
coolness,
Callus.
cool lookingness, imposing figure.
Now, Faro's hair is delightful, but I don't know if it's imposing.
Right. But then, Callus, especially when he's like full up in his armor and stuff, and he's got his helmet on, that's pretty imposing.
I would give it to him. Like Faro, the thing is, he's a traitor, so his armor is specifically designed to look like the good guys. Like, you can look at him and see, oh yeah, this guy's not one of the baddies in this universe, but then he betrays them.
And then
he never gets a chance to cut a proper villain figure.
Disregard for life.
That one, I think you could make an argument for Faro, whereas like if the one act we know him by is that he freed a man who was responsible for a ton of death and destruction and war and problems, whereas Callus is very well known for turning to the good guys and his villainy having been exaggerated.
Yeah,
so,
but I think it's still Callus because he won the first two.
It is still Callus. I still vote for Callus, but I would say that as on that particular category, Faro at least has a solid argument for winning.
Yeah. Do we know where Callus was in the Lasat? Like what role he played?
He wasn't like the lead general in charge of the planetary invasion. He was, from what he says in Rebels, I think he was just sort of like squad leader thing or something like that. Yeah, sure. He had an unspecified, though relatively small, at his command in the palace. I mean, so that right there kind of speaks to his talent that he was tasked with hitting the main government center and beats them.
And see, and for me at least, being on the ground.
Sorry, turn my phone on silent.
Kyler's texting under the table here.
Yeah, come on, man.
Sorry, it's my D&D group.
We see how it is.
But being on the ground would speak to his villainy in not having. Whereas Faro is just kind of like, it's a couple of dudes, and then he gets. Well,
but Callus later reveals that he did still have kind of problems with how things was handled.
Callus was definitely in a position where it's like, okay, I work for the government, and we've been tasked with doing good work. And that work's not comfortable, but
so
you still have that. I was just following orders.
Yeah, the whole first season, he's like really playing up his role in lethality and the destruction, specifically to get Zeb's goat. And then is it the second season where they get stranded, him and Zeb, on the planet?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, late in the second season, and that's when he opens up and he's like, so, you know how I told you this story? Like, that wasn't exactly true. Like, I kind of disagreed with how we handled that. I didn't think we should have been with the populace. I didn't actually kill the guy that I got this bow staff from. Or I didn't, in honorable combat. Like, I still killed him, but then here, take this. Like, it's part of my honor. You take this. Underhanded him, killed him. So it was like... So he kind of opens up and explains, I do have some mortals. And that's when I told my wife, I'm like, yep, confirmed. He's gonna switch.
Yeah, he'll be the guy. Yep. All right.
So,
next. Callus moves on. Next, we have Grand Moff Wilhoof Tarkin.
Yes.
One of my kids, my wife will.
You gotta have a son first.
I know, right? All I have is 4 beautiful daughters. Ugh.
Your wife may not go for it, but mine might.
Ross, yes.
Yeah, except that Ross would never name his child Wilhuff.
Yes, that's true.
He's not going to name his child after the bad guys.
I would be more... Well, that's true. I would be more willing to name him Wilhoof than...
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
But...
Okay, Ross, I'll work on Carrie. Wilhoof.
Okay.
We'll do it.
I mean,
Wilhoof Hansen.
Yeah.
Kanan Wilhoof Hansen.
Oh my gosh.
Ezra Wilhoof Tarkin. I mean, Hansen.
Yeah, you gotta change your last name now.
Change it to Tarkin. I'm kind of there.
Are you serious?
It's just a cool name.
It is.
Ross Tarkin.
Ross, if you legally change your name to Tarkin, I will give you my prized Tarkin picture that I have.
Carrie! Anyway.
My charming to the last picture. that was like some random artist at a con that I was at, and I haven't been able to find it ever since. So if you legally change your name, that picture's yours.
Okay, I'll take that into consideration. Anyway, we have Tarkin versus Chi-Cho. We've also forgotten.
Chi-Cho is the Pantoran, like, prime minister or something like that. So the outer rim planet of Pantora. Blue-skinned people. George Lucas is dressed up as one in episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's literally, it's a throwaway one episode of Clone Wars, like season 2, I think. They go to this ice world where, like the Republic's outpost there has gone silent. They can't figure out why. Everybody's been killed, and they find a droid base that's already been killed and whatever. So there's a bunch of like these ice people. They look kind of like sentient wampas almost. They're like big abominable snowmen kind of a thing. Right. And Chi-Cho, so this moon that this base was on is under Pantora. And so they're like, well, this is a sentient species, so Pantora has to like start respecting galactic rules about dealing with a planet with civilized people on, or sentient people on it. Like, you have to start respecting their sovereignty and stuff like that. And he's like full-on British imperialist South Africa, like, no, they're savages, this is our rule. You're interfering in an internal affair, you Jedi. This is, a sovereign matter of Pantora, and we're just going to wipe them all out, and blah, blah, blah. And he's all stick in the mud about it.
So the whole, like, willing to push for genocide thing definitely speaks to his lack of...
But then again, Tarkin gives the order on an innocent planet to wipe out 3 billion people.
That's true. If he were up against someone other than Tarkin, maybe, but we have Grand Moff exploding Alderaan Tarkin here.
Grand Moff, fear and terror are your primary weapon, Tarkin.
Yes.
Fear will keep them
let's
in line.
Be honest, this is Tarkin. Like, the guy's imposing. Yeah. You could cut diamonds on those cheekbones.
For sure. Well, and same with Chi-Cho. It's like, Chi-Cho is discount Tarkin. Yeah. Every one of Tarkin's beliefs, so is Chi-Cho, but just not... Tarkin just does it better.
Yeah.
Like, Chi-Cho has really impressive cheekbones, but not like Tarkin, Yeah. So I guess it would come down to, like, personal lethality would be, like, the only thing where Chi-Cho... Because Tarkin's kind of an older man. And
but even, like, given Tarkin's history, we know that he's pretty personally lethal.
Tarkin, on the older end of his life... this is actually a pretty cool story from the comics. Vader is like, I need to... the Emperor pits Tarkin and Vader against each other.
Yeah.
It's basically like, I want to know, like, who's really second in command. Because, on the one hand, Sith Apprentice, but on the other hand, the guy who's actually helping me administer my empire. Why don't you guys just figure it out for yourselves? It's totally the pool cue from Batman, where he's like, why don't we go see,
one opening,
Yeah. And so, like... The Emperor says, like, you can't actually kill the other person, but you can get them to tap out, basically.
Yeah.
And so Tarkin keeps going, mission after mission after mission of, okay, well, that didn't work. How can we refine that plan and get Vader next time? And he does, it basically ends in a stalemate where Tarkin, like, electrocutes, or he gets Vader with, like, an ion grenade or something like that, which disables his suit. But then Vader, laying there, unable to move, force chokes him and, like, gets him to black out. And so that's basically when they're like, okay, so we know if push comes to shove, we can both take each other out, and that's the limit. Okay, let's go.
And where does that fall in relation to A New Hope?
After.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, this is really? I believe this is in the main...
You've told that story before. I didn't know it was after that.
Maybe... I'll have to go look. I want to say it's after. No, I guess it can't be after, because... Tarkin is dead.
Oh, yeah.
So it has to be
that little detail.
So never mind. I lied. Forget what I said earlier.
And
No. Tarkin survived. He's going to show up in episode 9 along with Palpatine.
Yeah, exactly. Empire for the win.
So
Tarkin is the winner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tarkin's just,
Tarkin's the OG. He's going to be a lot of people.
Who's next, Ross?
This
say
one.
It. Ross, go ahead and say it.
Mithran Naruto.
Hey!
Nice.
Otherwise known as Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Correct.
Yes.
You've been practicing that name, haven't you?
It helps to hear it from listening to the Thrawn novels.
That's true.
So, especially the one time when he's trying to get Anakin to say it, and they just Anakin's like, kind of hear the difference, but I can't say it. Fine, I'll just call him Thrawn.
Versus...
another one that I don't know. Volt Scaris?
Volt Scaris. Volt Scaris is Thrawn's underling, squadron leader for his defenders.
Oh, right, that guy.
Yep.
I got the mustache.
Yep. Yep, that guy. He's got a mustache.
Okay.
And does he technically show up in the books? Is that him when they're doing the Defenders in the second book?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, this is the commander versus his subordinate. And I feel like this is probably going to go to Thrawn on basically everything.
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
definitely the more imposing of the two.
But you know what, though? Because there are things that I want to talk
about. The power
about.
mustache.
Yeah. Mustache of authority.
Mustache versus dark blue skin with red eyes is...
There are things that I want to talk about here that I feel like would change the outcome, but
We'll bring it up.
Well,
You don't want to spoil stuff.
yeah, I don't want to really get into too much of what we're going to do in the Thrawn episode when we get there.
Both incarnations of Thrawn, he is not the most blatantly evil of people. He's definitely a more honor-bound.
But see, here's the thing. That's kind of my issue, is
Yeah.
that each incarnation of Thrawn is a little bit different.
Yes.
In fact, I feel like original Thrawn, the first 5 books plus Rebels Thrawn, are close enough to the same. But these new books, I feel like he feels like a little bit of a different. And I don't know if that's because you can get in his head.
That's interesting because they're all Timothy Zahn,
I
even
know.
Rebels.
Oh,
I
really?
know.
Yeah.
Rebels was him too.
So, I think I've told this story before, but if not, I'm now anyway. I was at a con, Michigan, and I got to talk with Timothy Zahn.
Oh, you got to talk to him? Ooh.
Yeah. It was a really small con, and apparently, like, he lives in Michigan, like, that's where he's from or something. And so he, like, always goes to this con, always has. It's pretty small. And there were, like, 12 vendors there and stuff, so there was, like, almost nobody there. So I'm like, well, downtime, I'm going to go talk with Timothy Zahn, because I know Thrawn, and Thrawn's coming in Rebels, and I want to talk to him. So he told me that, because I asked him, like, how much of your Thrawn is going to be in Rebels? Like, because you obviously don't want it to feel like a super different character. You'd want some consistency.
If people want Thrawn, it's got to be Thrawn.
It's got to be that
Yeah.
Thrawn, exactly. And he said they've been really, really great at working with it, like, because he was writing the book to come out with it and whatever. They were kind of timing that, right? The book kind of came, the first Thrawn book kind of came out before his appearance in Rebels, and he actually, he told me that they sent him the scripts of the episodes that had Thrawn in and said, what do you think of how we have done with Thrawn? And he would be like, well, Thrawn would have done this, or he would say this, or, you need to show this a little bit differently. He gave his feedback on what they were doing with Thrawn in there, and they would go back and forth with different revisions with him to make sure that the Thrawn in Rebels is Timothy Zahn's Thrawn.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, they were doing the same thing with his books to be like, here's what we've got foreshadowing episodes so that you can write to that if you want and make sure this new Thrawn is consistent across everything.
Yeah.
So,
as far as striking figure goes, I do think Thrawn beats out
Thrawn. Yeah.
Mustache of Power.
that sweet white suit, like,
Yeah.
fetch man.
No, it was made for him. Like this is
Yeah.
why we have white suits. It's like doesn't matter if they were in the movies before that. They were made for Thrawn.
Yeah, for
Pretty
real.
sure in universe the reason those outfits exist is because somebody went, son, let's put some white on this man. He would look fabulous. And they were right.
Yep, they sure were. Personal lethality, I think it's got to go with Thrawn.
Thrawn's pretty intensely
He's
lethal.
shown in the movies and in books as well to be pretty personally lethal.
Yeah. Well, and not just personal, like hand-to-hand sort of stuff, but on a large scale.
I was
Thrawn
just about
is
to say,
terrifying.
Yeah, when the order is cause destruction, he's about as good as you can get at that.
Yeah. And he will outmaneuver most people, and that makes him terrifying too.
Yes.
Like he is a frightening villain to go up, and that's what a category should have been. Is how afraid would you be to go up against this person?
Yeah,
In any manner. So we'll
Yeah.
just add that as kind of a mental asterisk in the whole
yeah, for sure.
lethality, destructiveness. Like I would be more afraid to go up against Thrawn than most villains. Like
Yes.
he's intense and he is capable.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
yeah.
And then
As far as disregard for life goes, Thrawn is
Thrawn is
not.
pretty respectful.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. He doesn't waste life.
Yeah, he won't.
Like he does discard life more easily than a hero would, for sure, or your
For
average
sure.
just middling
but he
decent
doesn't
person.
disregard it if he doesn't have to.
Yeah, but he's not throwing it away. When he does throw it away, it's for a purpose.
Exactly. If
And there
throwing
are
away
some-
Ross is giving me looks.
Yeah.
If throwing away life will achieve the goal, he's more than willing to do it without blinking an eye.
And for original Thrawn and new books Thrawn, I would agree, but not for Rebels Thrawn.
Yes, for Rebels.
No. Remember that speeder bike that he wanted to test, and he wanted the engineer to test?
That
he
was
makes
punishing.
him blow it up.
That was
Yeah, but
punishing
that's-
a saboteur.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's
That's what
not. That's not.
Well, but that's
regard for
again.
life.
But there's a reason.
But
for
they're
it.
exactly
Like, this isn't out of amusement. This is out of
See,
this isn't
Vader
wasteful.
is
It's
going,
not.
oh, you let the Millennium Falcon get away. I'm going to choke you to death, Nita.
Yeah.
Where in the books and also in Rebels, Thrawn goes, oh, well, they got away. Okay, did you do your best to get them?
Yeah,
Tell me what you
one
did.
Of my, in the original, one of my
Okay.
favorite juxtapositions that Zahn did with Thrawn is that he had, you had an instance where somebody allowed the tractor beam operator allowed Luke or et al. To escape, and Thrawn came down and was just like, okay, why'd you do what you did? And the guy's like, oh, well, this, and it's like, yeah, and that's not what you were supposed to do. It was stupid, and basically goes through where this guy is just like, just didn't make good choices.
Well, no, I thought it was the operator's handbooks didn't cover that sort of thing, so he did try something.
No. This is so the first time it happened was a guy who blatantly did the wrong thing. It was a stupid move, and Thrawn came down and was like, "Yep," and he killed him for it. It's like, you are the one who screwed this up. You solely are responsible for them getting away. Then the next time he came down, so the next time they got away was Luke had specifically prepared for, they're going to try and tractor beam me. So he had prepared a ship within a ship. He exploded the ship on the outside and flew away from his X-Wing from inside. And the guy who was operating the tractor beam was like, oh crap, now there's a cloud of debris and I'm going to try and disperse this by doing this. There wasn't, he was creative. There wasn't a way to handle it, and Luke got away. And so Thrawn comes downstairs and is like, all right, who's operating the tractor beam? And everyone's like, oh crap, we know how this goes. But instead Thrawn was like, all right, what did you do? The guy's like, well, I did this and this, but that didn't work. So I tried this and that did work, but it was too slow. And Thrawn was like, that's really creative, actually. That's a good that there's no plan for this. I want you to make that our new plan for this, so the next time it can be faster, so we know how to deal with this. Good job, you're promoted. And leaves. So Thrawn is a man who is harsh. He definitely is.
But he's also fair.
He will take your life over a lot of things, but he will also. He doesn't waste life, generally speaking. Especially as far as the people on this bracket go, he is practically a saint. Yeah, as far as preserving life goes.
So it's Thrawn.
It is Thrawn, yes.
Even you can fact check us on all of it.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree that it is Thrawn, but still.
Yeah.
We have stuff to talk about.
Alrighty.
Next, we have Maximilian Veers versus Elric Vonrig.
Yep. Major Elric Vonrig.
So, Veers is you primarily see him as the AT-AT commander on Hoth.
Yep.
He later graduates to
The ship will be down in moments. You may start your land.
Yes. Actually, no, wait a minute. I guess he never actually commands any Star Destroyers. That's Piet I'm thinking of.
It's Piet.
Veers
is the ground commander.
Yeah.
That's
Veers commands the assault on Hoth.
Yep. Do we see him
The
again
ground
after that?
assault.
No.
Oh, wait, that's right.
Not in the movies.
Because he drank out of the wrong cup.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
As one does.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
And then you'll have to tell us about Elric.
Elric Vonrig is from Resistance. He's in the TIE Fighter, the Red Interceptor.
Not Captain Cardinal.
But not Captain Cardinal.
Okay.
And he dies in the episode of season 1.
Oh, that's too bad.
I'm always sad when they dance.
Yeah. It's just there's been a lot of that in media recently.
Mm-hmm.
One and done villains.
It's Veers, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
capable of destructiveness. I'd say Veers is a really capable commander.
Yeah.
And he's very
Personally,
specifically
he himself
engaged
personally,
in expanding his ability to be destructive on the ground.
Yeah, for sure. Coolness, I mean, Red First Order is pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
And his Interceptor cool
Yeah,
too.
I would definitely grant that to him. I would say that Veers is
cooler than
arguably
Veers
rather
in
forgettable.
an AT-AT.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't tell him.
Yeah.
And then it's what do we have? What's the third
And then
one
there's
again?
the disregard for life.
Oh,
I think this
both
could
are
be a tie.
willing to take. Yeah,
they are both very willing. Like, they're,
Ross,
like,
okay.
yeah, I would say
Who's better at bureaucracy?
Veers is probably more destructive, but they're both like there's
can
nothing
generate
that
more
stands
paperwork,
out
Chris?
necessarily as one being above the other as being more callous about life than the others.
Okay, so
So
for our
paperwork.
tiebreaker,
Oh, are we?
And we're
giving a
not
different
doing who can create more paperwork for the imperial bureaucracy.
we could.
one? Greater bureaucracy upon people.
But the one I thought
I feel
of,
like that's still a tie. Though.
I know. Okay, Ross, what is it?
the one I thought of is who is more likely to start a fire, like a
Like,
forest
to
fire.
make Smokey the Bear mad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Huh.
I think Von Reg would.
Yeah.
Yeah, Veers.
He definitely has a bit of more of a chaotic vibe to it.
He does, but also Veers. I think he would like start the fire and be like, "Well, we don't want to leave it for a variety of reasons. One, we don't necessarily want to burn down Endor's forest with our troops in it. but also like we don't want to give enemy positions away. I think he would not leave a fire unattended. Where Von Reg with the first
well, and by
order,
nature of his job too, where it's just he's more of the hit and run types. He's not a man who's coming down to worry about that fire.
So I think Von Reg would just be like, well, I'm done with the fire.
Yeah, I think Von Reg.
Yeah. Holy crap! Von Reg just won?
Yeah, I think Von Reg just beat out Veers. They're
goodness.
very evenly matched in a lot of ways, so I think...
Wow. Wow. We have like a 3-episode villain beating out Veers.
Well, I mean, Veers is a legacy villain, but it's not like he's showed up a lot either.
Yeah.
He's still probably had more screen time than
probably
Von Reg.
all, but...
Wow. That's great. I didn't see that. My bracket is thrown off.
Yeah, there we go. Next, we have Miss Orinda Price.
Yeah.
Of also Thrawn fame.
Yep. Yeah, speaking of subordinates getting killed for their poor choices. That's her.
Does she?
Thrawn kills her for blowing up the gas unnecessarily. They could have either been allowed to escape and captured later, or captured then, but in a different way. He's like, you blew up this entire planet's like fuel supply reserve. Do you realize the cost? Just Kree Empire? Nope. Nope. That was a bad call.
I forgot that.
Yeah.
And she is up against Ray Sloan.
Yeah, Ray Sloan from the Aftermath series.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. I remember that.
Who really should have been... Oh, God. Wasted. Really cool character in the first book, and then... with each passing page after the first book, I'm going, and why aren't you, like, fully in charge here? You're clearly more sane and capable than anyone else playing on your... So
give us a little bit better description. I don't know who she is.
She is an Imperial Admiral.
Yeah, so after the fall of the Empire, quote-unquote, like, it hasn't officially fallen, but after it's before Battle of Jakku.
You're right, yeah.
So it's after Battle of Endor.
Battle of Endor, there's, power grab, and she...
So she's one of the highest ranking officers left in the Empire.
Yeah, she's one of the highest ranking officers left. Well, she's the highest ranking officer left in the largest individual chunk of the Imperial Navy.
Yeah.
So she names herself Grand Admiral and gets other Moffs and things to say, yes, we put our stamp on this, you can be the Grand Admiral.
Yeah.
And then she proceeds to inexplicably squander away every bit of power she has to a character that makes no sense named Gallius Rax, which is why I didn't want here, because I refuse to talk about him more than I have to. And it's just totally stupid, honestly. He's insane and also incompetent, and so how he is somehow to outsmart because Chuck Wendig wanted it
because
to
he
be
has
that
a
way.
penis.
Yeah, for reals, honestly. So she herself, in every instance that we see her doing things, she's actually quite resourceful and is a pretty decent fleet commander. So
do we take her as what she was clearly intended to be, or what she actually was?
Take her as intended to be, because that's how I picture her in my mind.
That's fair. But I mean, as she actually was is what we've got. Like, that's canon.
Yeah.
So I don't know much about Orinda Price. So let's just go through the checklist. We don't have a lot of visuals for Ray Sloan, whereas Price is very much
we do, thanks to Armada.
Oh, okay, cool.
She's an admiral.
So who cuts the more imposing figure here, would you say?
I like Sloane's look better than Price.
I'm gonna have to.
But Price is kind of okay. So you know the weird Russian girl in that one movie, the one Indiana Jones movie that they never ever made.
Kate Blanchett.
Yeah,
as a Russian.
Yes.
Yeah.
With that bob haircut.
Yeah.
That's Orinda Price.
Yeah, basically, it really is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Ray Sloan is take Piet's admiral outfit
that's a really
and then
accurate description.
Yeah. So and then Ray Sloan is basically Piet's admiral outfit, only it's a black girl with curly hair, like a lot of curly hair.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the pic from
Armada.
And are we talking
that's the art
fro curly or
African Americans tend to have curly
she's
hair,
got a ponytail.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
and
so
her
Zoe,
hair is long.
Zoe,
yeah, Zoe.
It's
Zoe
not
from Firefly.
Not the Austin Powers, Foxy Cleopatra fro.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's just you have a lot of your natural hair and it's curly. Yeah. So.
That's
so
tough,
they're they both cut a really cool figure in different ways. I think Price might be a little bit more evil, intimidating.
Scrolled a little
Ray
too
looks
far
really
in
good.
that image search. Thanks for that, the internet.
Curse you, Google safe search. I trusted you.
Well, based on that, I'm going to have to go with Price as the more visually intimidating one.
Personal lethality. Sloane throughout the books is shown getting into like actual fist fights and gun fights and stuff, and she does okay. She's also got a high constitution score because she gets roughed up and comes away from it.
Price does the same in the Thrawn books, though.
Yeah, she's specifically a hand-to-hand person.
She's pretty scrappy.
How's about disregard for life, then? Which of these is more...
Oh, Price, for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would say Price, because Ray Sloane, just generally, from what I have read of her so far, generally not the, like, screaming, I'm clearly from the Empire type of person.
Yes.
Whereas
No,
Price
is definitely like, are you sure throwing 100 more lives at this problem isn't going to solve it?
Yeah.
Maybe we should try anyway. You know, like,
is it already solved? Let's throw a few more. Just
to be sure, yeah.
Yeah, I would say Price wins for that, because otherwise they're pretty evenly... Like, I want to give Sloane points for being the higher ranked and arguably more capable, but I would argue that she's also more capable...
Because she's less villainous.
Because she's less villainous, yeah.
So, I agree.
So Price?
Yeah,
Price. The price is right.
Hey! That was a good one.
Didn't we knock Price out first round last time? It seemed like I think
so.
Gone farther.
I think it was like Price versus Thrawn. Or
yeah, she
like
just
that.
wasn't. She wasn't deadly enough. That was ended up fight. But
all right, next we have Armitage Hux versus Miles Grint. So Armitage Hux is, of course, the ginger
General
leader
Hux,
of the
They will
First Order.
bow to the First Order!
Yes, Domhnall Gleeson in all his scenery-chewing glory.
That speech is still so good. He just nails the insane trope, you know, just, man, he does a good job.
Yep.
I want to go watch that.
And I don't know who Grint is, so...
Miles Grint is from Rebels, right?
He sure is.
He's the crab/Goyle to...
Correct. He's the big, blocky, meathead, like, random street guard that's, like, in every episode almost, like, just in the way of the heroes.
Yeah, and he hangs around with...
And then he gets killed at the end of the first season for, like, letting... Or when Tarkin shows up. What is that? Is it the end of the first season? It is at the end of the first season, yeah. Tarkin shows up at the end of the first season, and he's like, okay, you two numerous times have let these people out of your grasp. Please explain yourselves, and they don't give a good answer, and the Inquisitor ignites his double-bladed lightsaber and takes his head and Oresco's head off at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool death.
So yeah, he's basically the Crab and Goyle to Oresco Malfoy. Like,
and you know, I can't believe I forgot a person in Rebels, an Imperial officer in Rebels that had a face.
Yeah,
instead of a hat covering his eyes.
Yeah, there's only like 3 of them that have a face. So
yeah, I'd completely forgotten about
one of them is Liam O'Brien's character.
Yes.
Yeah, and he starts off the series without a face, and then he gets a face by the end of it.
Well, because he starts off as generic Imperial officer.
He does.
Yep. Times,
yeah. And then he gets a name like a third of the way through, and then by the end of the series, he has a full face.
The ascended extra.
Exactly.
All right. This is Hux. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Grint's not like he's not physically unimposing, definitely, but Hux has the black uniform, he makes the ginger
black
scary
heart, and I was like, yeah.
And he has the black heart. Yeah, he's got the Nazi, Nazi
he
First Order.
Nazi.
And Grint is just way too adorable.
If by adorable you mean a literal potato with a mouth cut in it.
He's like something from VeggieTales.
Yeah, he's real ugly. They did a good job.
Hux is crazy. He is like... I'm not gonna lie. I fought so hard for Hux last time just because it was fun, but now I'm really excited for this bracket just because, based on the criteria we now have, Hux is actually a pretty solid contender.
Yeah, it's gonna. That's why I'm so excited for this new bracket.
Yeah,
we're gonna have a good showdown from here on out.
Yeah, so that's definitely Hux. He's more physically imposing. He is definitely leading an organization that is causing all sorts of destruction. He is. I mean, if we're putting Tarkin on the map for destroying Alderaan, well, Hux has Tarkin 5 planets at this point. So
yeah, that's true.
And then he's also definitely got the disregard for life down.
Yeah. Is it possible to have negative regard for life? Because
number of people on this list that have plotted and executed patricide, well, not a lot of them. Armitage Hux is definitely up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Very elite squad there.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure.
Moving on, we have Firmus Piet His name is Firmus?
Firmus Piet.
Firmus.
Was that on our list last time? I don't remember.
It is,
that.
yeah.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
I just forgot.
And he is up against... I forget a lot.
Yep.
He is up against Agent Tierney.
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 Agent Tierney. So Agent Tierney is my favorite person in Star Wars Resistance. She's the First Order Security Bureau agent who comes to the station and actually manages to convince one of the main good guys to join the First Order.
Okay. Corruptor.
Oh, yeah. She's so cool. I hope we see her in like every single episode in season, because I need as much of this agent as I can get. Voiced by another Critical Role guest alum, Sumali Montano, who played Neela in...
Yeah.
And Piet, most well known for being someone who
Intensify I don't want anything getting through.
Well, I was going to say best known
into.
for being a man who survived serving under Vader and didn't get killed by Vader.
Yeah.
Well,
it's true. He didn't get killed by Vader.
Yes.
It's because things kept getting, like, killed above him. He just kept getting shunted up.
Yeah, true. But, I mean, he stayed alive through all of that. That's... Staying alive that long as an officer in Vader's direct line of command is tricky.
I mean, I feel like it was just because he was less incompetent than everyone else, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, this is not an incompetent bunch, really. I mean, they're making big. They're
Ozzel's not even on the list.
Yeah.
It's really not an incompetent bunch.
These are all high-ranking officers. Like, they all got their ranks for a reason, and then lost them because they disappointed Vader. Whether or not it was justified for him to kill them, he may have killed them. And Piet managed to stay alive through all that. That's an achievement.
So, lethality versus...
destructiveness.
Destructiveness.
The ability to cause destruction on a wide scale, as well as... the ability first.
I mean, Piet is... probably the highest ranking naval official in the Imperial Navy at the Battle of Endor.
But he's also definitely not wasteful with life. He's being careful. He's not trying to cause destruction, generally speaking.
But he's more than willing and certainly capable of it when he's in command of the Imperial fleet.
Yeah.
He's
capable of it. That's true. I'm not. But it's also a matter of just like...
I mean, there would have been no rebels left if he had disobeyed the Emperor's orders and said, "No, we're just going to take the rebel fleet." Yeah, that's true.
But he did.
But he didn't, because he was ordered not to, and he's loyal that way. But but sheer capability, boy, that's hard to
he's
argue
obviously
with,
a capable guy. And how about Tierney? I don't know much about her.
So Tierney, while we don't see too much of her, we do see that she is, destructive on like a personal human level, in terms of, I mean, she's corrupting the good guys and getting them to
and we don't see anything like that from
the First Order.
Piet is the kind of guy that is like, I could buy that. This is just, this is kind of the following orders types and does it really well.
Yeah. She is Security Bureau. She's the ISB of the First Order, and from everything we read in all of the sources and everything we see on screen and stuff like that, these are sort of pretty elite people when it comes to things like torture and hand-to-hand combat and things like that. I mean, these are your elite, so we can infer a lot of those things about her from that. She is a pretty good shot as far as peeps go.
Yeah.
As far as cutting a cool figure goes, I gotta go with Agent Tierney.
I was gonna say, I gotta argue Tierney looking at these images.
I mean, Piet's like that classic Imperial officer look, but Tierney looks really cool. She's got really cool armor.
Yeah.
She's got the cool like Ray Sloan haircut going.
Yeah, she's in it. She's cuts a striking figure. Yeah. Whereas Piet's, I almost feel like the reason Piet does so well is because he's forgettable.
And then the third category is disregard for life,
which I would say Piet is arguably not that high in.
But
I don't know where Tierney is.
Is kind of the same way. She's literally like part of the argument that she makes to corrupt this good guy is she's like, look, we would rather not kill everybody on this station. Like, that's where this is heading. Like, the resistance goes there, but we would rather just keep all you guys safe. Now, she may be lying, but her actions also indicate that she kind of is also telling the truth. They'd rather keep the populace there and intact. She's like, look, this is what the First Order is about. It's about order. It's too chaotic out there. If everybody would just get on board with us, we would have peace and order, okay? And, so she seems more willing to, let's see if I can talk you down or talk you into joining us, rather than just, let's just shoot you and get the problem over.
Kind of feel like we got another tie then. Like, if she cuts a more striking figure, but he's more destructive, and they're kind of balanced on this as far as the disregard for life goes.
Ross,
what do you got
give
for
us a tiebreaker.
Okay. which one of them is the least likely to use their turn signal?
Ooh.
Two people who have to really follow orders.
Yeah, I would say it's Tierney. I don't know much about, but I know that Piet's the kind of guy who's going to use that signal.
I think 9 times out of 10 they would both give you like the full 10 seconds or whatever it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
they would do the turn 6 seconds. See, yeah, I don't even know. I never use it. I'm from Utah. It's a surprise. Your turn signal in Utah is giving away your moves to the enemy. Giving away your plans to the enemy. No, yeah, Tierney, I think would be the first
but
one
I would also argue with that Piet, literally what kept him as alive is his meticulousness, like that he's...
Yeah, well, and Tierney also is like the lying, manipulative type. That's how she corrupts, so I think she would be the first one to break a rule.
I think Tierney has squeaked ahead in this.
Tierney, wow. No kidding.
I feel bad that both of my tiebreakers have led to the non...
Yeah,
I think it's awesome.
I'm okay with that. I love these upsets. Who knows? Maybe Tierney will... Just kidding.
Yeah.
She won't win the full thing, but hey, maybe against whoever this next one is.
Next, we have Orson Krennic.
Yeah!
Of white-suited... The Death Star was actually my project.
White-caped fame.
Yeah. Versus Valen
We stand
Rudor.
here amidst his glory, not yours. Or his achievement, not yours. Valen Rudor. Valen Rudor, also from Rebels. He's an elite TIE pilot for the Empire. He's I believe he's native to Lothal, but yeah, he's... Oh, he owns a bar.
Right, that's right.
So
Okay.
Doesn't he?
Nope, not him. Does.
Don't they go into that bar and get some valuable resistance information?
Not from him though. He is the one who almost gets like the cops called on.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right.
So, the cooler figure is definitely Krennic. There's no question.
He's
got a cool like dust jacket kind of thing going on. Rudor does. But Krennic, that crisp white uniform, the long flowing cape,
that's the thing, though, is
gloves.
I look at Krennic and I'm like, I've seen that uniform capeless on a lot of people, and they all fill it out a lot better than you do.
I love the cape.
From Sloane to Thrawn to, like...
No, I love... Especially that one shot that they never used in the movie, him just standing there and it, like, pans up. And
so you mean that one shot that's not canon?
It's so good. It's so good. But the whole uniform is canon.
No, I will. Yeah, looking at Valen,
so cool. And
Krennic wins by
villain.
Virtue of being up against someone who doesn't cut a striking figure. On that one.
Lethality.
I mean, Krennic did. He did arrange for the people to be brought into place to build the Death Star. I think it would be a stretch to say he built it, but
yeah,
he did order the destruction of Jeddah.
Yeah, he gave the personal order. Yep.
Yeah, but wasn't that under Tarkin's
Well, Tarkin just asked for a test. He could have tested it anywhere, and Krennic is the one who said, yeah, I've already got a target. By the way, it's the holy city of Jeddah because they're kind of problematic.
If you say so. I have not seen that in a while. So.
And also, I mean, he's the one who kills Lyra... What's her face? What the heck is their last name? Urso.
He's the one who helps Lyra Urso in her suicide attempt.
Yep. Yeah, he's the one who suicided
her
Lyra Urso.
Imperial-assisted suicide attempt.
Exactly. I mean...
Wasn't it it was the Death Troopers that shot
he
her.
brings them there knowing, yeah, we're probably going to have to...
Yeah, that's not... Like, he didn't kill her, though. Yeah. That's not...
But then again, Valen Rudor, we have literally zero evidence of his personal lethality.
Don't we? Isn't he
He's a TIE pilot, and a good one, but we see him standing next to the TIE Advanced prototype with Minister Tua, who's like, oh, it's Empire Day, and here's our new TIE program that you're building here. Yay for us! And for a test flight, it's Valen Rudor. And then the rebels blow it up before he can go on a test flight. And the next time we see him is in the bar.
Oh, well, that's fair. All right.
So 2 for Krennic.
Next is callousness, yeah.
Oh,
and that's
going
to be Krennic, mainly because Krennic is self-centered.
Yep.
You just didn't want Krennic to win, did you?
No, I don't. I don't like it's mainly just this, like, this is a villain whose defining features are he's self-centered and he's incompetent. Like, I don't want him to progress.
Yeah. Let's see if Tierney can knock him out next time.
I don't know.
The finale.
All right,
well,
that is...
That's first half of the bracket.
Yeah, the left half of our bracket.
Guys.
Oh.
Woo! Let me...
And you're welcome, listeners, for having a regular-sized episode.
Hey, look at that.
I don't remember how
long
the other ones were. Were they long?
Oh, they were like 2 hours apiece.
No.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Remember.
Anyway, so there we are. That's the end of that. We hope you enjoyed, and we, even more than that, hope you played along with us as well. I think I'll put up the bracket. We'll fill out there.
I would
see
be
who gets
interested
it right.
to see. Yeah.
Maybe I'll throw out a
people's
prize
ideas.
or something. Okay.
I meant to talk
Okay.
prizes.
All right. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so play along at home. Fill this out.
142, 116, and 107 lengths of our various.
Well, there we
go.
go. Okay.
So actually, this one was long, at least the last.
Anywho, be sure to follow us on Twitter at More Civilized. That's where things like this bracket are going to get posted, as well as to the Facebook group, A More Civilized Podcast. Be sure to, if you have anybody in your life who likes Star Wars and is not either following us on Twitter or in the Facebook group, for heaven's sakes, get them in there.
And this week's favorite listener is
I don't even know. Who is it, Ross?
Mr. Stephen Boswell.
Hey,
here's the
Steven!
Here's where I show my adequacy.
Okay.
So when I decided that Stephen was going to be the shout out for this week, it was several days ago, and I can't currently remember why. So I remember thinking to myself, oh, you know what? That was cool. Stephen's going to be the shout out this week. And I have no idea. I was just sitting here scrolling through Facebook like, what was it? And I'm trying to remind myself. But it,
well, Stephen, you get it for some reason.
Yep. You do.
We like you, Steven.
That's right. We appreciate you, Stephen. So yeah, thanks, Stephen. And you can speak with me on Twitter at Mr_R*star. One of these.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Itinerant Baxter. And you can let us know on Twitter or Facebook if there's any place you would like to see the podcast that you can't find it. And also if there are any topics you'd like to hear us cover. We'd like to pander to you.
Yep, it's true.
And so, until next time, may the Force be with you.
Always.
I'm Anna Graves, and thank you for listening to A More Civilized Podcast.
So to start off, we have a yawn.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you ready?
Oh, were we supposed to be doing silence or something?
We can now.
Can we, though?
I was, yeah, I know, right? I was going to make some comment about how Kyler was like, hey, let's get in, let's record, and now he's here on his phone.
I know.
A moment of silence for our now dead first season.
Which is
It's
crazy.
so true.
Still crazy to me.
Unless we do a new and improved reboot. We'll do a prequel season.
Yeah, what?
Let's do a prequel season where we...
I love it.
man.
Where we go back to 1998.
That's right.
And the special editions were a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's a brilliant idea for an episode.
Or we could do a special edition of the first season where we just expand some stuff and
Go back and
pretend that we actually
Exactly.
had this all along.
we re-record all of those episodes and
Adding
add
in
in a couple of
things.
bonus things here
Yeah.
and there.
Yeah.